First things first, what even is a reflexive verb? Don't let the grammar jargon throw you off. It's actually pretty simple. It just means the action of the verb bounces back to the person doing it. You know, like I wash myself or she prepares herself. That little myself or herself, that's the whole idea. And in German, it's just built right into the verb itself. Okay, let's start with something we can all relate to. Getting lost. We've all been there. But here's the thing. In German, how you get lost really matters. And this is just a perfect example of how precise and honestly kind of cool the language can be. And here is that precision in action. German makes this super important distinction. Are you walking or are you in some kind of vehicle? If you're on foot, you use sich for laufen. But if you're driving a car, riding a bike, anything with wheels, you use sich für fahren. It's a small detail, I know, but it makes a world of difference.
So picture this. You're exploring some beautiful, winding old streets in a new city. You're walking, you'd say, wir haben uns in der Stadt verlaufen. We got lost. See how that uns, ourselves, reflects back on wir, which is we? That's it right there.
But what if your buddy takes a wrong exit on the Autobahn? Now you're in a car. So, bam, the verb changes. hat sich auf der Autobahn verfahren. He got lost while he was driving. Using the right verb here just instantly tells a native speaker you know what you're doing.
Okay, so you might be thinking, what if I'm not sure? Or I just want a more general, all-purpose word. Well, German's got you covered. That's where sich für Ehren comes in. This is your go-to catch-all verb for getting lost, and it works for people, for animals, pretty much any time you've lost your bearings.
And this is the perfect example of where this verb just shines. I mean, you wouldn't say the cat was driving a tiny car, right? So sich verfahren is out. Sich verirren is perfect. Die Katze hat sich im Garten verirrt. It's just a great flexible verb to have in your back pocket. So we figured out how to get physically lost. But what about navigating, social situations? We're moving from maps to manners now. These next few verbs are absolutely crucial for interacting politely and clearly with people.
First up is sich benehmen, to behave oneself. You will hear this one all over the place, especially directed at kids. A parent might say, Bitte benimm dich. Please behave yourself. It's a command to control your own actions, to make yourself behave.
Next, we've got a really important one for emotions, sich schämen. This means to be ashamed or to feel embarrassed. And it makes perfect sense that it's reflexive, right? Because it's a feeling you have inside about yourself. And this is just such a golden phrase to know. If a friend messes up or feels embarrassed, you can say, Schäm dich nicht, das kann jedem passieren. It's an incredibly kind and supportive thing to say. A real game changer. Okay, let's break down sich bedanken. This is a bit more formal than just yelling Danke. The key to getting it right is remembering its two-part structure. You have to say who you're thanking, using the word bei, and then what you're thanking them for, using the word für. So let's see how that looks all put together. Ich bedanke mich bei dir für die Hilfe. Now, if you translate it word for word, it's kind of funny. It's like, I thank myself at you for the help. Sounds weird, I know, but it shows you exactly how the action of thanking reflects back on you, the speaker. All right, for our last section, let's get into a bunch of verbs that are all about your daily routine, how you work, how you rest, and how you grow and adapt to new things in your life. Here they are. We've got sich beschäftigen, which is to be busy with something. Sich bewerben, to apply for something. Then sich erholen, for when you need to recover or rest. And sich gewohnen, to get used to something. Now pay super close attention to those little words in parentheses. They are part of the deal. Let's start with a really practical one. If you're on the job hunt, this phrase is your best friend. Ich bewerbe mich eine neue Stelle. Notice how you use when you're applying for a job. Super important. After all that hard work applying for jobs, you need to relax. That's sich erholen. It can mean recovering from being sick or just recovering from a really long week. And honestly, ich erhole mich am Strand. Sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? And last but not least, a verb for any kind of change in your life. Sich gewöhnen an. To get used to something. If you move somewhere new, this is so useful. You could say, Ich gewöhne mich langsam an das Wetter. I'm slowly getting used to the weather. It really captures that whole process of adapting.
And there you have it, 10 super useful everyday verbs. Now it's your turn. Let's do a really quick fire round to lock all of this in your brain.
Okay, here's your final cheat sheet. Ready? Getting lost on foot? Sich verlaufen. In a car? Sich verfahren. The general one? Sich verirren. Behaving yourself is sich benehmen. Feeling embarrassed? Sich schämen. To thank someone properly? Sich bedanken. To be busy with something? Sich beschäftigen. Applying for a job? Sich bewerben. To rest and recover? Sich erholen. And finally, to get used to something? Sich gewöhnen. Boom! 10 powerful verbs. So the only thing left to do now is to actually go out and use them. So I'll leave you with this question. Which one of these 10 verbs are you going to try and use this week?
Okay, so every great day out has to start somewhere, right? It starts with making a plan. And our very first verb is exactly how you do that. Sich verabreden. This is your go-to for arranging to meet up, making plans, setting a date. It covers the whole shebang.
So for example, you could say, Ich verabrede mich morgen mit Freunden. I'm arranging to meet with friends tomorrow. See that mich? That's the reflexive part. I arrange myself. And you've got to pay attention to the little preposition, mit. It's super important for saying who you're meeting up with.
All right, plans are made, you've met your friends. What's next in our little story? Well, you talk, right? You catch up, you chat. The verb for that is sich unterhalten. Here's what it looks like in a sentence. We are chatting at dinner. In this case, uns is the reflexive part because we are all chatting with each other. And hey, here's a little pro tip for you. Use mit for the person you're chatting with and über for the topic you're chatting about. So you could chat mit your friends, über your vacation. Easy. Our day out isn't over yet. After dinner, maybe you and your friends are just kind of wandering through a cool night market or exploring a new neighborhood. The verb for that kind of casual exploring is sich umsehen, which just means to look around.
Okay, now check this out, because this example shows off a classic bit of German grammar. Wir sehen uns auf dem Markt um. We're looking around at the market. Did you see what happened? The main part of the verb, sehen, is right there at the beginning, but its little partner, gets punted all the way to the end of the sentence. That's a separable verb for you, and you're going to see them everywhere.
So, as you're looking around that market, you spot the perfect souvenir. It's decision time. And for that moment, we need the verb sich entscheiden. And here is how you say, you've made your choice. Ich entscheide mich für den roten Pullover. I'm deciding on the red sweater. You're literally deciding yourself. And what's cool is this verb is a 2-for-1 deal. You use für when you decide for something, and you use gegen when you decide against it. Super, super useful. Okay, so our social day out is starting to wind down. We're going to shift gears now. We're moving away from the outside world of doing things with friends, and we're turning inward. Let's look at the verbs for our own thoughts, feelings, and just taking a break. First up, a feeling we all know, surprise. In German, you aren't just surprised by something, you surprise yourself. The verb for this is sich wundern. It also means to wonder. You might say something like, Ich wundere mich über das schöne Wetter. I'm surprised by the beautiful weather. It just perfectly captures that private little moment of, would you look at that? The action of wondering is happening inside you, reflecting right back on you.
All right, this next one is absolutely essential for every single human being because, let's be real, none of us are perfect. The verb is sich irren, and it means to be wrong or to be mistaken.
Now, this is really fascinating. In the sentence, hat sich in der Uhrzeit geirrt, he was mistaken about the time. You see, in German, you don't say the time was wrong. No, you say he was wrong. He has erred himself. It's like the responsibility for the mistake is with the person, not the thing. Pretty deep, right?
So what are you doing right now? By watching this explainer and trying to wrap your head around these verbs. You're making an effort. You're trying hard.
And the perfect German verb for that is sich anstrengen.
You might say, ich strenge mich in der Schule an. I'm trying hard in school. This is the verb for every student, every athlete, every language learner. You're exerting yourself. And just like sich umsehen, it's a separable verb. See how the an goes to the end?
Okay, after all that hard work, all that sich anstrengen, you totally deserve a rest. And of course, there's a reflexive verb for that. Sich hinlegen, to lie down. You'd use it in a simple daily routine like this. Ich lege mich nach dem Mittagessen hin. I lie down after lunch. You are performing the action of laying your own body down. It's simple, it's common, and it's a perfect example of a reflexive verb. So, we've socialized, we've reflected, we've rested. And for our grand finale, we've got two verbs that, when you put them together, tell a whole story all on their own. A story about matters of the heart.
This is so cool. First, on the left, you have sich verlieben, to fall in love. But pay close attention to the preposition, in. Hat sich in seine Kollegin verliebt. He fell in love with his colleague. Then, as the relationship progresses, we get sich verloben on the right, to get engaged. And look, the preposition changes. Sie hat sich mit ihrem Freund verlobt. She got engaged with her boyfriend. The language itself tells the story. You go from being in love to being with someone. I just think that's a fantastic little detail.
We have covered a lot of ground, from making plans to falling in love. But, just watching me talk about it is only half the job. Now it's your turn to actually practice. So here is your mission should you choose to accept it. Step 1. Pick just one verb from today that you liked. Step 2. Make up your own sentence with it, one that's actually true for you. And step 3. Try to use it this week.
And that's a wrap. We've seen how just 10 verbs can help you talk about your social life, your inner world, and even your heart. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Which of these verbs are you going to use first? Thanks so much for joining me.